person. I love to work out. Okay?
Yeah.
My insurance company had your name on it. They had you. I went in. I didn't have to do any code. They said, yeah, they paid you right away. Because, folks, I know people that have HMOs. When you're sitting there with a $5,000 deductible, if you go in for knee surgery, that's $12,000. Your next time you go in is you met your deductible. So you got to hope you need another knee surgery because you're coming out with a lot of money and a very big copay. That's really ridiculous. That was the problem that ruined Obamacare.
Yeah, well, what's happening now is people come in to me and then they end up just paying cash for their treatments because otherwise they're going to get nothing out of their insurance company. It's the way it's written, and this is what has to be changed now. To follow Trump, he's doing the right thing. Get that thing out of there, get it changed, and not only that, but the Obamacare is like a police state. They're able to examine everything that you do based on the Medicare requirements. People don't know this, but this is the inside story. The Medicare had a law passed in 2015 that said that they can now question everything that a doctor does. Mm-hmm. So they do. And they won't pay you because they can say, we're not going to pay until we approve your charge.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And so you're working for free. No, you don't want that. You want the government out of your business. It's a police state. Don't do it.
1984, right. George Orwell.
Yep.
It's coming to fruition.
Yep. So you be careful when you buy insurance. Be careful who you're voting for. I mean, you can't have that. Let the marketplace handle it.
Well, let's look at it logically. I don't know if any insurance company has ever gone bankrupt.
No, they're protected.
Now, some of the biggest ones are picking up the smaller ones that aren't making the kind of money they wanted, and they're taking them and they're putting into their network. Okay, I made sure, I'm on Social Security, so there's always another factor that I must have to pay. But I went and bought that separately for myself and my wife, thank God, where I get all these things done, and I get top care. I could go to you. Anyone, I could go to you. My wife could go to you, and we don't have to pay. We don't pay any out of pocket. It's covered. Your name's there.
Right.
So what I'm saying to insurance companies, if you want to make another $1 billion this year, okay, what this man is doing, it works. It works. Physical therapy, someone's paying for it. Okay, a major operation, someone's paying for that. Being in the hospital, something is paying for it. I've looked at the stuff that I've seen that blew my mind. If you don't believe me, a lot of hospitals now have big signs showing what it costs if you don't have insurance and what it costs if you do have insurance. I'm talking about a $2,000 or $3,000 difference. If you're sitting with a policy where you have a $5,000 and some people have a $10,000 deductible because it was less money, you're never going to use it. If you're young, you're never going to use it, hopefully.
Listen, the charge you put into your insurance company is not what they're paying.
Of course.
You can't know what they're going to pay because the law of 2015 for Medicare is reducing all the fees. Pretty soon, the doctors are not going to be able to handle it because they can't make enough money.
That's what's happening right now.
It's happening right now. And I noticed it in my own practice. They just don't pay. That's it.
No.
I mean, you can't do anything about it. How are you going to fight the federal government? You can't.
Before Obama came in, I have two friends that were doctors, okay, that sat with you like you do. Sits with you, asks you your whole history. Mm-hmm. You write it down on a piece of paper or you take your notes. Now, you got to be in the cloud. So either you have to learn how to do this or you bring somebody in, and the amount of patients they see now are more than they've ever seen because they can't make their overhead like they used to.
Well, that reduces your practice.
Sure.
Because, first of all, it tires you out. You can't be effective when you do that. Your expenses for your office do not go down. They always go up. Your expenses goes up. And so that's the business part of this. But what people don't understand about the Obamacare was the police state that they put in to question everything. Mm-hmm. And so that tells you, well, who's questioning me? I mean, what is your, first thing I do when I get an inquiry, say, who is back there judging what I do?
I know.
You want to judge what I do, you come in my office with me, and then I'll show you things, and then you're going to say, oh, yeah, that works. Anybody who comes in there, we change their mind because it works. But you have to understand it. And if you're sitting somewhere wherever it is, Jacksonville or someplace, and somebody's there with no knowledge, a general practitioner or a nurse practitioner or other people, they may not know what you're doing, and they'll never know because they don't have the training.
Well, let me tell you what's
so as good as I am, I have to defend myself all the time.
You should.
And I
should have to.
Just look at the results. That's all you got to do.
You've got files up to the kazoo of people that you've treated that have no problem, no lawsuits.
It's a 1 day, 2 days for a low back pain. I mean, what more do you want? I mean,
I'm assuming this lady's going to keep coming back until she find a way to get those things out of her.
They don't, because there's no one who'll take them out.
Really?
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah. And this is a young woman.
Yes.
And that's even worse.
Yes, and she's got a life. I mean, a full life.
So now, as I tell people, everybody who has a car, they're going to get a second opinion, a third opinion before they go and they pay the manufacturer where they bought the car.
Right.
Okay, but you'll believe anything about your health. You'll spend more money.
Well, they think, my doctor is my doctor, and he's good and everything. That's not true. Not every doctor has the knowledge that it requires. They have to send you, and they have to make calls. They have to inquire what's available out there. And do they do it? No. These pediatricians, have really disappointed in them.
When they see the scoliosis,
they never call up and say, what can you do with this kid I have with the scoliosis?
The patient would be...
they never call up.
They would be happier if you said that. That's the part that bugs my... They would be the happiest people in the world if physicians say, look, I got a guy...
Now, the ones that did come in, got their scoliosis, the curvature between the shoulder blades, they straightened out before they left that day.
But the bottom line is, the two things you don't want anybody to tell you what to do is your money and your health.
That's right.
Don't listen to people say, I got the best doctor. My doctor is the best.
No.
A doctor doesn't know everything.
Right.
Okay.
They're good at what they do.
Of course they are.
If it's an internist, he's an internist. He takes care of diabetes and hearts and things like that, not musculoskeletal pain. I watched when I went to see my own cardiologist, there's people limping in and out. I said, why don't you refer those people to me? Oh, well, we don't know anything about that. Yeah. What are you talking about, You got to take care of the whole patient.
Well, when you go to a doctor, you first of all, you sit in that office waiting for the girl to call you in. Walk in. Hold on a second. Yes, you're required by your insurance that you could have six MRIs. No, I'm sorry, 6 physical therapy treatments. Okay, then you go and the guy takes it. By the time you've done, you've just wasted 3 hours of your life, and you know what the bottom line is? Couldn't cure this. I have not seen anybody that I know as friends who have gone for physical therapy that didn't end up in the hospital, except a couple people that I said to you.
If you
for an operation,
they're not trained that way. And you can't work with them because they don't understand what you're talking about.
They don't know where the pain is coming from.
Right. And if you tell them, what is your program for this particular source of pain, they don't have it. They're not taught that way. So that's why we don't do any physical therapy in my office. We do physician treatment only. I do the treatments. And I'm responsible for them.
And take the phone calls.
And take the phone calls. And I'm responsible for the result. But when you go otherwise, they're not responsible for the result. Your physical therapy failed, so now let's operate you. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear any failure whatsoever.
What would you say to a physician that does, a lower back surgery that doesn't work, and then the patient goes back to the doctor, and the doctor sends him to another surgeon?
They call it a failed back.
But why go to the others? Why would the other surgeon? Why would the surgeon that originated this surgery?
Because the first one didn't know what he was doing. That's why. And if you know what you're doing, you don't have failures.
I know a man who's come back to you again, who has trouble with his knees. We know who that is. I mean, this guy's had more surgeries in his knees than Carter has little liver pills, and you're helping the guy get his life back.
Let me give the audience, if they're listening. Are you listening? I hope so.
Of course they're listening.
If you're having trouble climbing steps and getting out of a chair and walking, it's probably not your knee at all. It's really the kneecap. Now, if you go and you have therapy on that, the therapy that they do makes you worse because they don't understand the dynamics.
They're hurting you more.
Okay? You have to really be pretty savvy with this stuff. You have to know the anatomy and how the anatomy is being used. I mean, the design and function is what I talk about in my book. Design and function, you got to know this stuff. Because if you don't know what the design and function is, how do you improve the function if you don't know what causes the function? You know what I mean? It's a reasoning process, and you have to put all this in your mind when you examine somebody. But if you're having trouble climbing steps and getting out of a chair and walking, not so much walking, but climbing steps, it's not your knee at all. So we can fix this in a day or two.
You could actually put a company out of business that has that little lift that takes you up the stairs.
Now, if you have a bow-legged, it's because there's a scar tissue in the ligament that holds the bones together that we talked about before, and we treat that, and your knee comes out straight. You don't need a surgery for that. If it's really bad, you could use a surgery on it.
Someone said to me, when he takes care of, he takes care of that scar tissue, does it ever come back? I said, no.
Nope.
Unless you fall down and it happens again. But
even then, it doesn't come back.
This one I know you haven't filmed. That big guy who went out like this. God, I feel good. You gave him it's that really big, tall, heavy-set guy. I mean, looked like he could take his hand. And I know you don't remember who you see all the time, but I have to remember so I can talk about it.
Yeah.
I watched one day when you had an office full of people, and everyone that was supposed to go to lunch, but you messed it up. It was your turn to pay. Damn it, I'll get even with you. Every person I saw go in and come out said the same thing. He's God. He's God. Now,
it's just a science.
Look, I don't know if Moses actually opened up the Red Sea. I wasn't there.
Right.
Okay. I don't know if there's another being in the world. The one thing I do know in life is that you can definitely 100% guarantee that you will cure that patient. Now, I don't know any doctor. Nick, have you ever heard of any doctor that said they can guarantee it? No one. They said, well, once I go in there, I might see something else that's causing it, and I want to know, do I have the right? You give me oh, yeah, doc, I'll do it. Then they come out and said, I asked you, you signed it. You don't have to sign anything, folks. You come in, just come in and talk to him. That's all you don't have to he's not charging you to talk to him. You have the option to do it or not. Have there been people that said no? Yes, but they came back the next day.
Yes, but they were after drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't get drugs.
So you understand what?
You know why we don't prescribe drugs? We don't have to. We don't have to. We can cure the thing. We don't need to put you on drugs. We cure the problem. So what do you want to do? Take drugs or you want the problem cured? And if you got to pay out of your pocket, do it. You got to take care of your body first.
Because of what you showed. This girl was amazed. She said, that's all? She was, that's all?
Yeah, that was just Friday, right?
Yeah, no, Thursday. Was that all? So people not only are amazed that when they look and say, this guy really does what he's supposed to do. Yeah. God, this show went so fast, Doc. Could you make 2 hours? No, I can't do 2 hours.
No, I can't do 2
hours. If you want
it's over. Well, thanks for listening, people.
Well, we got
Give me the numbers. Give me the numbers.
The number you should call to see, now I'm not giving this stuff. If they call now, they'll have to be cut off. Yeah. If you want to see or speak to Dr. Pannozzo, call him at 561-381-5800. Go on his website. Go anywhere you want before you call up to see what he could do. We've got people there with knee problems, back problems, scoliosis. We've got them all. So if you want to meet a man, I call him the pain whisperer. His name is Dr. Anthony Pannozzo. He's an M.D. graduate of Ohio State University who specializes in muscular skeletal problems. Right. That's 561-381-5800. Doc, I want to say thank you again for enlightening me always. I mean, I sometimes come in just to watch the patients, so I have something to talk about.
Yeah, you do.
Our board operator, Nutter, and Mr. Ihart, thank you so much. Nick, always a pleasure. 561-381-5800. Call, and you're going to have an amazing experience. Thank you. We'll see you next Sunday.
All right, thanks.
This has been the Dr. Pannozzo Sports and Medicine Hour with Dr. Anthony Pannozzo. If you spend 5 minutes with Dr. Pannozzo, you'll see he genuinely enjoys helping others. Visit Dr. Pannozzo online at www.paincentersnationwide.com or call him at 561-381-5800. Dr. Pannozzo will consult with you to determine the best solution to your pain needs. 561-381-5800 is the number to call, even if it's just for a second opinion. Join Dr. Pannozzo next week when he brings you more important information on the physics of weight-bearing and engineer concepts for the body.